We'll call to order the Douglasville City Council regular meeting for tonight, which is Monday, January the 8th at 2024. Our invocation will be done by Pastor Darius, Elder Director of Pastoral Counseling and Coaching at the Chapel Hill Church in Douglasville. After our invocation, we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by the Mayor Pro Tem, City Council Member Terry Miller. Please stand for the invocation.
Let us pray. God of justice and mercy, tonight we thank you for the gift of life and the opportunity to serve the people of this great city. We pray tonight that you would guide this council as always, satisfy the needs that need to be met during this meeting, strengthen this council as they work through the approval process, and I pray that the time spent tonight will be fruitful and productive. Let this great team of officials be effective and decisive. Give them guidance in this meeting, because a lack of guidance causes a nation to fail or fall, but victory is won through many advisors. So let them not be misguided in this time. We thank you for decisions that will lead to and produce results. I pray that you direct the steps of this time in this body so that this meeting can achieve our city's aims. We pray this in your name, and we place you at the center of it all. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, for leading us in the pledge, and Pastor Elder, we appreciate the invocation and those prayers. Such a blessing. The announcements, or we don't have any presentations this evening, but the announcements are just going to be the procedure, the rules, and how we run the meeting, and then we will get into the body of the meeting according to the agenda. My name is Rochelle Robinson. I'm mayor of the city of Douglasville, and I would like to welcome you to the city's regular voting meeting for tonight. This is a city council meeting where agenda items that were handled on last Thursday at our legislative work session will have official action taken this evening from that meeting last Thursday. And so if the business you're here for is not listed as an agenda item, there will be ample time under the agenda item comments from citizens and delegates. You can come forward, and we'd love to hear from you. You'll have 5 minutes to talk to us about any business germane to the city of Douglasville. The protocol that we like to go over is how the meeting will run this evening. I ask that you please keep your comments on a professional level, dealing with the facts that are important for this governing body to make our decisions. We will not accept comments that are considered by the chair to be of a personal attack on any individual or group of individuals. We ask that you refrain from doing that. And if you happen to go in that lane and we give you a warning and you do it again, we will turn the microphone off to discontinue your conversation for the evening. Only one person speaking at a time. Please do not applaud or react to the speaker, carry on a conversation, or speak from the audience. If you'd like to talk to us, please come to the podium and talk to us directly. We're only required to take public comments during public hearings outside of comments from citizens and delegates. If you have electronic devices, cell phone and such, I ask that you would please put those on silent mode or turn those off until after the meeting so they will not be disruptive. Now, this is how the agenda items will be handled. The committee chairperson will read the agenda item. Then that person or applicant representing that item will come forward and give us your name and address for the record. And then you can certainly present to us. You'll have 20 minutes as a maximum, and each person has 5 minutes to speak if we open it up for public hearing. Each person only has one opportunity, and once you come to have a conversation with us or respond to any of those concerns for agenda items, you would hand your speaker card. You have to fill out a speaker card. They're on the desk. They're blue. Your name and address is required. We ask that you would give that to our city clerk, Ms. Vicki Acker, and then state your name and address when you come to the podium and have a conversation with us. It's not a debate or question and answer. We're just here to hear the information, and tonight we will vote on those issues. If you have any printed materials or you'd like to show us something other than what is on our iPads, you can certainly hand that in to the city clerk, Ms. Acker, and she will make copies for us and disseminate it for us at another time. That is all the protocol for the meeting this evening, and we will go into the agenda items as presented on either a hard copy that you can pick up from outside on the desk, and/or you can follow us on the screen. So we'll move on with the items after having done all the announcements on how the meeting will run. So we're at item number 5, which is approval of the agenda. I will open the floor for a motion for the adoption of the regular meeting agenda for January 8th, which is tonight, 2024. A motion to adopt the regular meeting agenda.
So moved.
Thank you so much, Councilman Estes. I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. It's been properly moved in second to adopt the regular meeting agenda for January 8th, 2024. All those in favor of adopting this item, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Item A is adopted. 24-001 is unanimously adopted. Now we'll move on to item number 6, which is minutes of the December 14th, 2023 legislative work session and minutes of December 18th, 2023 committee meetings, executive session, and regular meeting. I will open the floor for a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. I said we have some technology issues. Mr. Jenkins is on his way. So we have a motion to approve by Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. I have a second. Ms. Ackerd was the coach, or Mr. Estes? Okay. Councilman Watts. It's been properly moved in second to approve item 24-002. Do we have any questions, concerns, or any corrections to the minutes as presented outside of the technology? Not seeing any. All those in favor of approving this item, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 24-002 is unanimously approved. Now we'll move on to the consent agenda. We are at item number 7. I will open the floor for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, the adoption of a resolution to waive the requirement for a City of Douglasville logo decal on the mayor's work vehicle in calendar year 2024.
So moved.
Thank you so much, Councilman Estes. I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. It's been properly moved in second to approve item 24-003. Do we have any concerns, questions, or comments as it relates to this item? I do see it has Legislative Intergovernmental Committee is Councilmember Samuel Davis. That has been changed. I believe it's the Mayor Pro Tem.
That's mine now.
Yes, sir. So we'll make that correction under that committee. Yes, ma'am. All those in favor of approving this item, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 24-003 is unanimously approved. Now we'll move on to item number 8, Economic Development Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem, re-elected again, City Councilmember Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business under the Economic Development Committee at this time.
Thank you, sir. Item number 5 is Finance Committee. Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight in finance.
Thank you, Coach Watts. Finance Committee is done, so we'll move on to Housing and Community Affairs Committee. That is chaired by Councilmember Howard Estes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Housing and Community Affairs Committee has no business this evening.
Thank you so much, Councilman Estes. Legislative and Intergovernmental Committee, now is correct on this one, is Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem City Councilmember Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business under the Legislative Intergovernmental Committee at this time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Personnel and Organization Committee, chaired by Councilmember Howard Estes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business in the Personnel and Organization Committee tonight.
Thank you so much, sir. You are getting used to your committees, and you're just driving and going through the stop signs. I'm just kidding. Planning and Development Committee, that's chaired by Councilmember Nicole Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
We do have 2 items this evening that we're going to look at again. And the
Yes,
first is to consider a request for variance to reduce the 50-foot zoning buffer to 0 foot in Section 8.02.2.c, and to reduce the rear yard setback requirement of 100 feet to 15 foot in Section 5.04.b of the Unified Development Ordinance of a lot of 32.57 acres at Bright Star Road in land lot 158, District 2, Section 5, parcel IDs 0158 0250072 and 015802 Application by Native Development Group LLC and Joseph McGorry, and Miss Marissa Jackson was going to come up and chat and answer any more questions we may have about that.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Marissa Jackson, Planning and Zoning Administrator, 6695 Church Street. Since last meeting, we have obtained an updated site plan from the applicant, which is shown on the screen as the last page of the agenda item report. Staff would like to clarify that the buffer and setbacks adjacent to the residential homes on the southern edge will not be impacted. The reduction only applies to the northwestern edge adjacent to the rock quarry. And staff would like to propose the following condition. This variance approval only applies to the northwestern edge of the property as illustrated on the site plan attached as Exhibit A.
Perfect. Thank you very much for clarifying that. And I will say, for the record, that once we sat down and looked at the map, turned in the correct direction, it made a lot more sense. But with that said, council, did you guys have any questions regarding this item? I'm not seeing any. Okay. Well, in that case, then, I would like to make a motion that we approve item number 23-406 with the conditions stated by staff.
Thank you so much. It's
461.
461.
4461.
I know it's a lot of numbers.
That is not a lot of numbers.
So, Madam Chair, it's 23-461.
Okay.
You said 406.
Okay, so then, let's say I would like to make a motion then that we approve item number 23-461
That's correct. We
with
have,
the conditions just stated by staff.
yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a motion to approve with the conditions that are presented by staff. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Estes. It's been properly moved and second to approve item 23-461 with the conditions that were read by staff, Ms. Jackson. Do we have any other questions or concerns? We did have hearty conversation on last Thursday at our legislative work session, and it seems all those concerns have been addressed. Thank you. Yes, ma'am?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so it's been properly moved in second to approve this item with conditions that have already been presented. If we don't have any other conversation, all of those in favor of approving this item, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 23-461 is unanimously approved with conditions presented. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
And let's clear that out. Okay, and now we do have one more item,
Yes, ma'am.
and that is to consider a request for variance to reduce the required parking, excuse me, let me clear that off, to reduce parking spaces from 980 to 232 spaces in Section 8.01 of the Unified Development Ordinance of a lot of 160 acres at 1601 North River Road and Land Lot 166, District 1, Section 5, parcel ID 0166015010. Application by Microsoft Corporation in care of Michael Trader, and Miss Marissa Jackson is here for us once again.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, we have no updates on this item since
Okay.
last meeting.
Okay, and I know we did discuss this, and we're going to be discussing it in the coming weeks as far as looking at our ordinance and how that could change. But at this time, council, do you guys have any questions or concerns regarding this topic? No? Well then, once again, I would like to make a motion then that we approve.
You have any concerns?
No, did you want to?
I know we had discussed briefly when we were meeting with staff about either requiring them to have additional available land for future usage or possibly placing that condition to identify reserved space. I didn't know if that could be discussed or if y'all had any thoughts on that.
And I'm sorry, I think I may have gotten confused because I thought that we had just kind of determined that if they choose to sell, that they would, of course, have to sell to a like business that could use it for that similar use. I don't know. So with that being said, though, council, thoughts?
Well, one thing I'd like to point out, and legal can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know we can't necessarily stipulate, them purchasing land for what might happen 20 years down the road if they ever tried to repurpose it or sell it. But that would be, if somebody develops it the way they want to develop it with the parking spaces they want to put in, and somebody else comes along and buys it 20 years down the road when they decide not to do data center anymore, it would be upon them to work that out. We wouldn't
Correct.
have to worry about it this time, at this end. Am I correct?
You may want to condition the variance upon the property being used for the use it's being used for now.
Okay,
Technology center, I think.
that makes perfect sense.
Sort of
Can we
like
do that?
use.
That makes sense, Ms. Reed?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Okay, well then, in that case, I would like to make a motion that we approve item number 23-497 with the condition that the property be used for the use in which it's being zoned for currently.
And in the future, a like use. Is that what we said?
Does that make sense?
The variance only applies to this usage.
It should state just this use, no similar uses.
Okay.
please.
Yes, perfect, thank you.
So I have a motion to approve item 23-497 with the variance to say that this use for this property will be used for what the variance says it's for. Is that stated correctly, Mr. Dotson? Okay.
Second.
Thank you so much. It's been properly moved to second to approve item 23-497 with how I said it clumsily, but staff will present it so that it is appropriate when we have to sign the variance. Yes, ma'am. So
Yes,
any
ma'am.
other discussion? Okay. Thank you so much, you all, for bringing that up. All those in favor of approving this item, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 23-497 is approved with the verbiage for like use for the variance. Okay, so we'll move on to the next committee if you don't have anything else. You have anything else, Madam Chair?
No, ma'am, that is all that we had this evening for planning and development.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Miller. We'll move on then to item number 14, which is Public Improvement and Beautification Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Nicole Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business this evening for public improvement and beautification.
Thank you, ma'am. The Vice Chair for Public Relations Committee is new Councilmember Hudson. Do you have any business under Public Relations Committee, Vice Chair?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No, we have no new business under public relations at this time.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We'll move on to Public Safety Committee, chaired by Councilmember Dr. LaShawn Burdanley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight under public safety.
You're welcome, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Recreation, Culture, and Tourism Committee, chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight. Recreation, Culture, and Tourism.
Thank you, sir. Technology Committee, chaired by Councilmember Elena Hudson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no new business under technology.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We'll move on then to Transportation Committee. That is chaired by Councilmember Dr. LaShawn Burdanley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business under transportation.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Do we have any other business to come before council tonight from the elected officials? Only thing I would like to say is that we did receive an inquiry from Senator Ossoff's office, and I have a meeting this week, a Zoom meeting with Commissioner McMurray. We're getting our schedules together. As soon as we have his respond, we did send your letter over to him as well, Councilmember Transportation Chair Dr. Burdanley. And so I will follow up with a letter to Senators Warnock, Ossoff, and U.S. Congressman David Scott, as far as the transportation issues are concerned in Highway 92.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I did receive a phone call today from Isaac Dodo from the Congressman's office, and I forwarded everything over to Ms. Hampton because
Yes.
we had spoken before the holiday.
Yes, ma'am.
So she was preparing to work on a stakeholders meeting, and thank you so much for following up.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes,
It's just
ma'am.
been a little delay because of the holidays.
Sure.
But we certainly know that it's something that is important to all of us, and we'll follow up with that transportation
Yes,
issue.
ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other business to come before the council tonight from elected officials? I don't see any. So we'll move on then to updates from our city staff, our city attorney, Mr. Joel Dodson.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Dodson. Our staff attorney, Ms. Miranda Jordan.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Our police department, our deputy chief.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Good to see you. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Deputy chief. Our assistant city manager, Ms. Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just one thing. On Thursday, Mr. Harris came before council requesting an exemption from his sanitation service.
Yes,
Of
ma'am.
course, under your current ordinance, there's not an option for a resident to have an exemption from sanitation service. Ms. Hampton is prepared to draft a letter from mayor and council stating that the city won't grant the request for the exemption unless council says otherwise. If you all are okay with that, she will draft that letter alongside our legal attorney, and she will ensure that she sends that to him.
I'm sorry, can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it because they're just not using the trash, because they have a trash receptacle? So they're just not using it? I'm not understanding.
So for about 2 years, they didn't have the sanitation service. WSA didn't see where they were actually using water service. Within the last couple of months, WSA did notice that it's enough water for about 2 individuals to live at that resident. So therefore, they notified Mr. Roberts and his staff, and they put out sanitation, trash service for them to be picked up.
Yeah, so water and trash goes together?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, problem.
Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am. And thank you so much, Ms. Jackson. As a follow-up as well, I did receive something from the city manager, and she will give us the printed material for this. But the sanitation service, he had not been charged for the sanitation service during the time frame that he presented, but he was credited for 2019. So the city did give him a credit for 2019, and I'm assuming
I don't know if that's correct or not.
yes, sir.
I know we stopped building it for a while. That wasn't a decision I made.
Yes, sir, the city manager. So she sent that to me today, but she will follow up with the documentation to let us know about Mr. Harris and what happened during the time that transpired with the concern that he has, but she said we gave him credit in 2019. So-
Yes, ma'am, and that's correct. The city did give a credit to Mr. Harris for the year 2019 because WSA was able to go back and look to see there was no water usage during 2019. So therefore, he was charged, but we credited that amount back because it was seen as no water usage.
Okay. So you understand, Coach?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I can see the question mark on your forehead.
I mean, everybody in the city limits that has a water bill
Yes.
is being charged, whether they put the can out there or not, that's up to them, but they're being charged.
Yes, and that is really kind of standard in the state of Georgia for a lot of cities that is connected to your water service. And so that's just but we will follow up. The city manager, as the assistant city manager has given us the information, we will follow up with Mr. Harris once we get all the documentation together and respond to his concerns. So, thank you so much. Thank you, Assistant City Manager. So City Manager's Office has spoken. Do we have any comments from citizens and delegates? Yes, ma'am. Ms. Welch, if you come forward, please give us your name and address for the record, and you're certainly welcome to talk to us about anything you have concerns about.
I know you're all probably tired of me. Cindy Welch, 3002 Concord Way, Douglasville, Georgia.
Yes, ma'am.
I was looking at the variance request, because I pulled it up online today. And I know this is legal, but I would think that when your staff reviews site plans and they see residents there, do they really want a truck court behind those houses? I mean, move the building down and put the truck court in the front. That's where the driveway's coming in anyway. But those poor people in those houses on Cherry Lane are going to be listening to 18-wheelers all the time. That's my only comment, that I would hope that they would review that and know that there's homes there.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
I
that's it.
believe that it was addressed in 2021.
The problem is I reviewed plans for 28 years, so I kind of look at these things like, I think there was a better way to do that.
Yes, ma'am. I think they did protect the citizens as
So,
As
but
much
I
as
mean,
possible.
50-foot buffer unless they put a bunch of trees up there and a fence, they're still gonna hear those 18-wheelers.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Any other comments from citizens and delegates? Thank you. If we don't have anything else, we don't have any other business to come before council tonight, this meeting is adjourned.